feels like I've been here all before. Radio humming, the world feels right. Every little thing's in tune tonight. Shadows fade, the truth comes through. Fresh start in the morning blue. Hey, now blue sky shining down. Left your feet, don't touch the ground. Laugh it off, let the good times stay. Oh yeah, it's a blue sky day. Oh, coffee steaming, a smile breaks free. Simple joys are enough for me. Stones roll out, but I don't mind. Sun's still waiting on the other side. Turn it up, feel the sound. Good vibrations all around. Hey, now blue sky shining down. Lift your feet, don't touch the ground. Laugh it off, let the good times stay. Oh yeah, it's a blue sky day. No heavyweight, no looking back. Just open roads and a steady track. Hands in the air, feel the sway. Let the light carry us away. Hey, now wake up, sunlight tapping on the door. Feels like I've been here all before. Radio humming, the world feels right. Every little thing's in tune tonight. Shadows fade, the truth comes through. Fresh start in the morning blue. Hey now, blue sky shining down. Lift your feet, don't touch the ground. Laugh it off, let the good times stay. Oh yeah, it's a blue sky day.
Woo! It's a blue sky day. It's a beautiful day. Here at the Conservative Cat Show, we've got so much to cover this morning. First, I'm going to be talking about Tim Walz. He held some sort of news conference. We're going to watch that. It was a disgusting new low, even for Tim Walz. He was inciting people to be violent against ICE agents, and he has smeared these agents as occupiers. This is open rebellion. Donald Trump has to do something about this. Tim Walz, Governor J.B. Pritzker alike, they have really incited violence. JB quoted, "Get your phones out, narrate what's going on, record the ICE agents." People are going to wind up dead. Tim Walz, I guess, doesn't care about Minnesotans. But we're going to get to Nick Shirley as well. He strikes again. He dropped a second bombshell video exposing the rampant fraud that's going on in Minnesota. He discovered some more millions that are being funneled away from the taxpayers into these transportation companies, but they're not actual transportation companies. They're actually not there doing the job of transportation. It's just a bunch of Somalis getting paid with taxpayer dollars for providing no services. So similar to the daycare thing. But Nick Shirley dropped that. Another story out of Minnesota, and I promise we've got some Illinois stories we've got to cover. ICE was spotted by the Immigration Project. This is fascinating, folks. The Immigration Project in Normal, this is just one like relatively small nonprofit, one nonprofit in Illinois. I ran the numbers here, looked at the state comptroller website, looked at the payments paid out to this nonprofit via taxpayer dollars. By the way, they're considered a vendor. So anybody can go do this. I'll tell you how to do it. You look up a nonprofit, look up their EIN. You type that EIN, their employment identification number, employer identification number, and you plug it in, and you plug it into the vendor website, and you can see how much money they're getting paid as a vendor via taxpayer dollars through the Illinois Comptroller's office. So I did that, and I didn't even run numbers for a year. But from July of 2025 to January of 2026, over $500,000 funneled into this single nonprofit. And what is this nonprofit doing? Well, they're posting alerts, warnings, one would say, on their social media pages, alerts that ICE is in town. ICE is in town. I thought it was interesting that Governor J.B. Pritzker was also nearby in Normal. He went to the Medici restaurant there in Uptown Normal. Found that interesting that ICE officers were there, federal immigration, law enforcement was there, and Governor J.B. Pritzker was there the same day. You've got the Immigration Project. And I'm not sure if they participate, the Immigration Project particularly participates in what's called rapid response teams, where these rapid response teams are paid to kind of conduct virtual seminars. And these are called ICE Watch groups. I've seen ICER, so that's the Illinois Coalition of Immigrant Rights. So they even get way more money from taxpayer dollars. Probably within the same time period, I'm estimating probably like $60 million from the comptroller website. So we're going to get to that story because now we've got an Illinois congressman drafting up articles of impeachment against Kristi Noem. We're going to get to that, but we're also going to get to this shooting that happened in Minnesota. This is breaking. This just happened last night. This ICE agent was apparently attacked with a shovel. Now, he was attacked with the shovel by not only the guy that was shot, the Venezuelan, but he was also attacked with the shovel first by Minnesotans, I'd imagine anti-ICE protesters of some kind. There were a couple of anti-ICE protesters with the Venezuelan gang member ganged up on this ICE agent. So we're going to break it all down for you. We've got new details coming out. But let's talk about this new video posted yesterday of the Minnesota scandal-ridden Democrat governor. Minnesota's scandal-ridden Democrat governor Tim Walz posted this on social media. I guess it was like some sort of smug news conference. It was smug. It was condescending. It was deceitful. And he makes these very absurd, repulsive claim that federal immigration officers are targeting people of color. I want to break this down, okay? And they're targeting pregnant women and dragging pregnant women down the street. I want to break this down because I don't think a lot of people understand this. White people, and I'm just going to throw out a number there, maybe 5% of the planet, brown, people of color, that's probably like 95%. And I'm throwing out random numbers, but there's not a whole lot of white people on the planet. And what did people think that Trump was going to do? Like, voters said we didn't want Joe Biden. We were like, this was a bad idea. 20 million illegals coming into the country, invading our country. This is not good. So we're going to vote for somebody else, Donald Trump. And, maybe now you've got some of these soft Republicans or moderate conservatives or I don't know, whatever you want to call them. And they're saying it seems a little barbaric what Trump is doing with ICE and federal law enforcement. Whoa, 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 whoa. Back up. We voted for this. Okay. We knew what was going to happen. He said mass deportation operations. I think that he could go further with the deportation operations because at the pace we're going now, we're not going to be deporting 20 million illegals within the 4-year term that Trump's got. Okay. So we need to amp it up. Okay. ICE agents need to amp it up. They need to do better. They've got the self-deportation thing, deport yourself, collect $1,000 to deport yourself. That I think helped with the numbers. Actually, a lot of people are opting into deportation. But what did they think Trump was going to do? Was it going to be like Thanos? He gets into office and snaps his fingers, and then all of these people kind of just disappear. No. Okay. You've got law enforcement. They're going to do the job that nobody else wants to do. They're going to collect these people and deport them. Okay. And yes, most of them are going to be people of color. Why? Because most of the planet, we invited the entire planet here to the United States. Most of the planet are people of color. White people are actually not as prominent worldwide when you look at it holistic. Like here in America, yes, majority white people have the majority, but when you look at it holistically, like in terms of the planet, mostly people of color, right? And I hate to say it, Somalis, they're brown. So yes, immigration officials are deporting brown people. Of like, okay. Anyway, so offering no proof at all. Of course, pregnant women being drugged down the street. They're targeting people of color. Like I have yet to see an ICE agent. You remember the episode of Family Guy where like they have the skin color shade, and then they hold it up to your face and then they say, okay, you're good to go. I have yet to see any kind of proof that that's happening, that pregnant women are being drugged out into the street. Walz, he did say that was happening, though, no proof. And he goes on to claim that Minnesotans have been marked for retribution because they have been peacefully protesting ICE agents as they carry out their duties. I don't know about you, but ramming your car into an ICE agent is probably not considered peaceful in most circles. But he has a message for President Donald Trump and Secretary of the Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. He says, quote, "End this occupation. You've done enough." So Walz, he proceeds to like have word vomit. He has a disorganized list of grievances that he airs. And he also talks about ways you can fight back if you are a Minnesotan and how to fight against law and order. So he's got a lot of big boy feelings here and he needs to just get them out. And he did that in a Wednesday video. Some of his feelings are that Donald Trump wants chaos and confusion and violence. No, there's nothing confusing about it. We elected President Donald Trump because we wanted the opposite of Joe Biden. Okay, he brought in 20 million illegals. Joe Biden, the border crisis. We want Donald Trump to deport 20 million illegals. And to be honest with you, Donald Trump is not... He's doing it, but at a very slow pace. Okay, we are not going to deport at this pace 20 million illegals. Look, Walz said, "You're not powerless, you're not helpless." And he was saying this to the progressive citizens, and it was not very subtle in this news conference or whatever it was, like some sort of social media video he posted. It was not very subtle. Okay, he made reference. It was like a reference to these radical agitator groups like Ice Watch. Now, Ice Watch isn't a group. I want to make that clear. Rapid response teams through these nonprofits are putting on virtual trainings called Ice Watch. Okay, a lot of people are getting confused. Ice Watch, I mean, it is a group of people who are participating in the virtual trainings, but you have to follow the money. Okay, so it's taxpayer funded. rapid response teams through various nonprofits. I don't know if the Immigration Project in Normal, Illinois is doing virtual ICE Watch trainings. I do know because there was an Instagram post that proved this, but it's been subsequently like deleted or changed. So you know how on Instagram you can make a caption? They called the virtual training ICE Watch in the caption, and the internet is forever. So when you look up ICER, Illinois Coalition of Refugee Rights or something like that, you look that up on Google, and then you type in ICE Watch. An Instagram post inviting people to go to this ICE Watch virtual training pops up. You click on it, and then you click on the Instagram post, but the caption is different than what Google says. So that tells me they've edited their post, and you're going to start seeing this. You know, the Dems, they do this all the time. They change the words. Okay, so now we've caught on, and we've figured out that, okay, they're conducting ICE Watch virtual trainings. But now they're going to call it something else to kind of throw us off the scent. Okay, so the governor, Tim Walz, put out this call to action. And really, it was like a not so subtle reference to these ICE Watch virtual trainings, these rapid response groups that are funded by nonprofit organizations, your taxpayer dollars. I mean, this is ridiculous. So let me compare how messed up this really is. So imagine abortion. Okay, you are a pro-life activist. There are several nonprofits out there. One of my favorites is Illinois Family Institute. They lobby the Illinois government and try to get them to pass pro-family law, pro-life law. So imagine, if you will, the anger Democrats would have if they found out that their dollars, quite literally out of their paycheck, were going towards pro-life groups. Okay, they're not pro-life, they're pro-choice. Okay, that's why we're so outraged. Conservatives, Republicans, whatever you want to call them, people who are just not pro-open border. Okay, we are finding out that our tax dollars are going towards open border activists. And that's not something we're for. So this is really messed up anyway. So the governor, he has a call to action. He says, all across Minnesota, people are learning about opportunities, not just to resist, but to help people in danger. Opportunities to learn such things as using your 2-ton vehicle, by the way, as a lethal weapon. Is that what he's talking about? Okay. So he says, learning about opportunities, not just to resist, but to help out other people in danger. Okay. You know, and the DHS, they were the ones that I attribute this information to. There's all kinds of things out about Renee Good, her criminal history. I don't know if that's true or not. There was a photo circulating. Snopes has debunked it. To be frank with you, I don't trust the fact checkers. The sister-in-law debunked it and said, oh, no, she doesn't have a criminal history. I don't know. She definitely had a broken family. That was clear. She had a son that she was taking to really an indoctrination camp. It was a school that specialized in social justice. Her 6-year-old, by the way. So there are things coming out about Renee Good that I'm not sure what's true, what's not. The DHS did confirm or say that Renee Good participated in these ICE Watch trainings. So I'm curious if by opportunities he means using your 2-ton vehicle as a lethal weapon, as a deadly weapon against law enforcement. Curious if that's what he means. Okay. Is that what is going on in ICE Watch virtual trainings? Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I tried to sign up for one of these ICE Watch virtual trainings. I'll get back to you because I'd love to go in and see exactly what they're talking about and what exactly are they learning about opportunities on how to, not just on how to resist, but to help people in danger. Is this vigilantism? Is this a militia? That's what we've got to try to figure out. So I'll keep you updated on that. But wonderful advice, I guess, from this so-called leader, Tim Walz. He says to establish a record. So where have we heard this from? Governor J.B. Pritzker. He's another one of these governors. And I'm going to get to the money here in just a second. This is not about Minnesotans, Illinoisans. This is not because they actually think ICE is the Gestapo. If they actually thought ICE is the Gestapo, they wouldn't be encouraging people to engage with ICE. They'd be warning people to go inside their homes if ICE is in your area and lock the doors and hide in the basement, because that is what the Nazi Germany, right? They're comparing it to that. That's what people would do. They'd say, run, okay? Don't engage. But here's what Tim Walz says. Witness, help us establish a record of exactly what's happening in our communities. You have the absolute right to peacefully film ICE agents as they conduct these activities. Carry it with you at all times. Very similar to what Governor J.B. Pritzker said a few months ago. Take out your cell phone and record. Okay, so help us create a database of these atrocities against Minnesotans to bank evidence for future prosecutions. Okay. So, in other words, Tim Walz, he wants people to go get killed. They're not the Gestapo, right? The ICE agents, but they're heavily armed. You engage these people, they're going to take you down. Okay. If I was a Democrat leader, I would say, don't engage law enforcement when they're heavily armed, and don't stop them from what they're doing, because you're going to get killed. Okay. And I, being a Democrat leader, if I truly believe that these deportations are unjust or that they shouldn't be happening, I would go about it and try to change the law, the federal immigration law. See, these people never talk about this. We have a law that says, hey, you've got to be a citizen of this country or have at least some type of temporary status. We've got laws, immigration laws. You don't like them, change them. Here's why they don't. Because every time, even if this even happens, I don't think that there's a Democrat bold enough to do it, because it's unconstitutional. We are a sovereign country. Constitution's pretty clear about sovereignty. And if you propose open borders, it's going to get shut down. If not by your colleagues immediately, it's going to get shut down by the courts legally. But if I was a Democrat leader, I would be trying to do that rather than incite violence or encourage my little foot soldiers, my Minnesotans, my Illinoisans, to go do my dirty work for me. Okay. If I don't like this law, if I think that it's unjust, if I think that there's unjust deportations happening, then I've got to go change the law. All right. But he wants his people to follow in the footsteps of Renee Good and put themselves in harm's way. That is what Tim Walz wants to do. So there's really no other way to explain it other than he is going to cause deadly encounters with this news conference, and I'm going to play it. He's going to cause deadly encounters between Minnesotans and federal forces. And it's demented. It's bizarre. It's disgraceful. And it's truly a new low, even for this guy. Here he is in all of his glory. Be sure to watch it all the way to the end. Look at this dramatic theater, kid. Here we go.
Are going door to door, ordering people to point out where their neighbors of color live. They're pulling over people indiscriminately, including U.S. citizens, and demanding to see their papers. And at grocery stores, at bus stops, even at our schools, they're breaking windows, dragging pregnant women down the street, just plain grabbing Minnesotans and shoving them into unmarked vans, kidnapping innocent people with no warning and no due process. Let's be very, very clear. This long ago stopped being a matter of immigration enforcement. Instead, it's a campaign of organized brutality against the people of Minnesota by our own federal government. Last week, that campaign claimed the life of Renee Nicole Good. We've all watched the video. We've all seen what happened. And yet, instead of conducting an impartial investigation so we can hold accountable the officer responsible for Renee's death, the Trump administration is devoting the full power of the federal government to finding an excuse to attack the victim and her family. Just yesterday, 6 federal prosecutors, including the longtime career prosecutor leading the charge to investigate and eliminate fraud in our state's programs, quit their jobs rather than go along with this assault on the United States Constitution. But as bad as it's been, Donald Trump intends for it to get worse. This week, he went online to promise that, quote, the day of retribution and reckoning is coming. That's a direct threat against the people of this state who dared to vote against him 3 times and who continue to stand up for freedom with courage and empathy and profound grace. All across Minnesota, people are stepping up to help their neighbors who are being unjustly and unlawfully targeted. They're distributing care packages and walking kids to school and raising their voices in peaceful protest, even though doing so has made many of our fellow Minnesotans targets for violent retribution. Folks, I know it's scary, and I know it's absurd that we all have to be defending law and order, justice, and humanity while also caring for our families and trying to do our jobs. So tonight, let me say once again to Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, end at this occupation. You've done enough. Let me say 4 critical things to the people of Minnesota. 4 things I want you to hear as you watch the news and look out for your neighbors. First, Donald Trump wants this chaos. He wants confusion. And yes, he wants more violence on our streets. We cannot give him what he wants. We must protest loudly, urgently, but also peacefully. Indeed, as hard as we will fight in the courts and at the ballot box, we cannot and will not let violence prevail. You're angry, I'm angry. Angry is not a strong enough word, but we must remain peaceful. Second, you are not powerless, you are not helpless, and you are certainly not alone. All across Minnesota, people are learning about opportunities, not just to resist, but to help people who are in danger. Thousands upon thousands of our fellow Minnesotans are going to be relying on mutual aid in the days and weeks to come, and they need our support. Tonight, I want to share another way you can help. Witness. Help us establish a record of exactly what's happening in our communities. You have an absolute right to peacefully film ICE agents as they conduct these activities. So carry your phone with you at all times. And if you see these ICE agents in your neighborhood, take out that phone and hit record. Help us create a database of the atrocities against Minnesotans, not just to establish a record for posterity, but to bank evidence for future prosecution. The third thing I want to say to you tonight is we will not have to live like this forever. Accountability is coming at the voting booth and in court. We will reclaim our communities from Donald Trump. We will reestablish a sense of safety for our neighbors. And we will bring an end to this moment of chaos, confusion, and trauma. We will find a way to move forward, and we'll do it together. And we'll not be alone. Every day, we are working with business leaders, faith leaders, legal experts, and elected officials from across this country. They've all seen what Donald Trump is trying to do to our state, and they know their states could be next. And that brings me to the fourth thing I want to say tonight, Minnesota. How incredibly proud I am of the way that you've risen to meet this unbearable moment. But I'm not at all surprised, because this is who we are. Minnesotans believe in the rule of law, and Minnesotans believe in the dignity of all people. We're a place where there's room for everybody, no matter who you are or who you love or where you came from. A place where we feed our kids, we take care of our neighbors, and we look out for those in the shadows of life. We're an island of decency in a country being driven towards cruelty. We will remain an island of decency, of justice, of community, of peace. And tonight I come before you simply to ask, don't let anyone take that away from us. Thank you, protect each other, and may God bless the people of Minnesota.
Hang on, I'm gonna watch it till the end because it's very like dramatic exit. He's blinking here. Oh boy. All right. So very dramatic exit from Tampon Tim. Okay. At one point, you heard Tim Walz talk about through the courts and at the voting booth, there's going to be retribution or some sort of revenge. Why is Tim Walz saying that? Because he knows that they've weaponized the nonprofit sector. Okay. Like I said, these nonprofits, they're collecting taxpayer dollars. For example, the one in Normal collected just from July to January of this year, $500,000, over $500,000. That's insanity. That's one nonprofit in a relatively small town. Okay. And they're scattered all throughout the state of Illinois. They're scattered all throughout the state of Minnesota. What these nonprofits do in their spare time, when they're not hosting Ice Watch virtual trainings for radical terrorists to come join, what they do in their spare time is they get out the vote for Democrats. Okay, so they're taking your money, they're funneling it into these nonprofits, and what they do, they go table, they go knock on doors with taxpayer dollars, okay, and they get out the vote for Dems. Okay, so he knows that voting, we're going to get you at the ballot box. He's confident in that because they're funding an apparatus, a system. And he goes, we'll get you in court. What else do these nonprofits do in their spare time when they're not training up a militia? Okay, these nonprofits, what they'll go do is they'll go launch lawsuits against President Donald Trump, law enforcement, ICE agents, Border Patrol. They'll go launch lawsuits on behalf of illegal immigrants, and they'll tie up law enforcement in court. This is creepy because this is history replaying. Regimes, authoritarian regimes, they take over the democratic process, voting. So they've rigged our elections simply by funneling taxpayer dollars. This is not a fair fight. Okay, you are fighting Democrats who, you've got one arm tied behind your back because you don't have taxpayer funding behind you. They have an entire apparatus who will get out the vote for them, and they're funding them to go do that. Okay, and that's not a fair fight. That's not a fair election. They've rigged the election. Now they've taken over the judicial system. Okay, notice how he doesn't say, we're going to go to the legislature. We're going to go change the law that says that you have to be a United States citizen or you have to have some sort of temporary status. We're not going to go change any of those laws in order to stay in the country. We're not going to go change it legislatively the way it ought to be done. No, we're going to weaponize these nonprofits to go get out the vote for Democrats. And we're going to weaponize the courts against the federal government. So at one point, Walz, he denounces President Trump for promising the governor and his fraud-ridden state this week that a day of reckoning and retribution is coming. So he, takes a shot at President Donald Trump for saying that a day of reckoning and retribution is coming, something Walz misleadingly attributes to Minnesota voting against Trump 3 times. Okay, so what he's trying to say here in that clip is that Trump is coming and he's targeting Minnesota specifically, which is just outrageous because we know Operation Midway Blitz that took place in Chicago. These ICE raids are happening all throughout the country, Portland, Oregon. So Minnesota is not specifically targeted. Okay. But he's trying to say that because Minnesota shot down Trump 3 times, that's why he's coming to the state, and that's why he's weaponizing his ICE agents, his Gestapo against Minnesotans. Walz then applauds Minnesotans for continuing to stand up for freedom with courage and empathy. I don't know what's empathetic about internal bleeding. Renee Good. This actually came out. The DA just said that the ICE agent who's ran over Jonathan, and I heard it like in the video, you can hear the thunk. And I was like, ow, that's gotta hurt. And I wasn't shocked to find out that he went to the hospital. I was kind of shocked to find out that the DA just confirmed that he had internal bleeding. So it was much worse than I thought it was. I don't know how courageous that is, or how empathetic, or how much grace is there when somebody runs you over to the point where you have internal bleeding. But whatever. Look, check this out. This woman. This is Becca, and I've got a question. This is Rebecca Good, the wife of Renee Good, or the partner of Renee Good, whatever. Why hasn't she released her video footage? She's got her camera right there, and she's clearly rolling tape. Where's her video footage? Just wanted to point that out this morning. Look, this is pure theater, and it's designed for one purpose: to deflect the attention away from the fact that Tim Walz oversaw, some people say $9 billion. This has been going on since 2015. Like I said, Tim Walz oversaw billions in Somali fraud. And it was so bad he had to end his reelection bid. So this isn't leadership. This is incitement. And Tim Walz is having a theatrical meltdown. And it's really nothing more than an attempt to distract you from his catastrophic failures. And it's a shame that people are actually going to follow his terrible advice and die from it, because it's really incitement. You shouldn't, if you truly believed that ICE agents were Gestapo, you'd be encouraging people to flee inside of their homes and not engage ICE agents, but you don't truly believe that. And I want to be clear, this is a apparatus. There's money to be made. Okay. If they create fear and get you to get scared of the ICE agents, if they create chaos, there's money to be made. There's donations, on top of the taxpayer dollars. Some of these nonprofits probably receive donations. I don't think that they are largely funded by donations. We don't know, because they're not required to disclose how much of it is taxpayer funded, how much of it is donations. There's something on their tax forms that just kind of lumps it all together. So we don't know how much they get. So it's not publicly available. It should be publicly available, because these nonprofits are tax exempt. It should only be fair, especially if they're getting taxpayer dollars. We should know how much without via their tax forms, without trying to dig and find how much, either in state budget they received or via vendor payments. So yeah, the nonprofits, it's an apparatus. There's money to be made. So people are donating. You start to whip up fear. You start to whip up chaos and confusion, which is what Tim Walz is doing here. They're going to get donations. And these are fat, happy, fat cats, okay? These nonprofits. And if they're making money, Democrats are making money, and they're staying in power. And yeah, that's really what this is all about. It's not about the Minnesotans or the Illinoisans or the belief that ICE is Gestapo. They don't actually believe that. They're using this law enforcement operation, and they're inciting people to go engage ICE. Unfortunately, crises happen when that unfolds, when people engage ICE. And you've got something like a Renee Good story, or people being harmed, citizens being harmed, when it really shouldn't be that. It should just be clean deportation operation. We get the non-citizen, we get the illegal, and we deport him. It should be nice and clean. And it could be, but you've got these people inciting, and the reason why they're doing that is so that they can make money. Really, by they, I mean the nonprofit organizations that are an extended arm of the Democrat Party. That brings me to Nick Shirley. Okay, so this investigative journalist set the internet on fire the day after Christmas when he posted this very stunning video detailing the rampant Somali fraud poisoning Minnesota right under the noses of right under the noses, or they were complicit. There's investigations happening. We don't know. Governor Tim Walz, it happened under the nose of Walz, Ilhan Omar, and Amy Klobuchar, okay, the state senator. So this fearless young man, Nick Shirley, he had a camera and a microphone, and he went around to supposed Minnesota daycares that were receiving oodles of federal money. And he discovered that there was no sign of life or kids even at these daycare centers, these daycares, and that it's all a big front. So now he's back with the second video, and he released it yesterday. And he says this on X. He says, after my last video exposing $110 million of fraud, Tim Walz dropped his run for re-election. Multiple federal agencies were launched to stop fraud across the country. Federal investigations were launched. In this 51-minute video, David and I expose another $16 million in fraud as Minnesota welfare programs continue to operate fraudulently and steal from law-abiding taxpayers. So I'm going to play some of the video. At the beginning of the video, he looks back at the impact that he had on, his first expose, and he received all kinds of blowback. Here's what and I just have a transcript of the beginning part of the video. It became the most viewed video expose on the internet and created instant change within government as the Fed sent thousands of federal agents to Minnesota, and the HHS froze over $185 million in all payments to childcare. While politicians like disgraced Minnesota Governor Tim Walz call people like me white supremacists and far-right delusional conspiracy theorists for exposing fraud, of course, Nick, they're going to call you that. Okay, that's the modern Democrat response. Okay, it's the modern Democrat response to everything these days. I'm just going to call you white supremacist and conspiracy theorist. But in this new clip, running almost an hour long, Shirley teams up with a guy he identifies as David. I really like this local guy, David. They've got a real Scooby-Doo vibe. I don't know, like Shaggy and I don't know, Fred. I don't know what their names are, but they've got a real hero dynamic. So David described in this video what he calls transportation fraud. Okay, so this is beyond the daycares. This is companies who are signing up to be non-medical transportation entities. Okay, so there are over 1,000 such companies. Okay, and David alleged that they were all 90% Somali owned. So a lot of these companies are just Somali owned. Watch what happens when they visit a couple of these sites, these transportation sites. So they're signing up these Somalis, getting taxpayer dollars to do non-medical transportation. I'd imagine it's through some Minnesota initiative that they launched, some nonprofit organization that is facilitating it. But take a listen. Here we go.
How are you? We're looking for the transportation company.
Safari Transportation?
Looking for Safari Transportation?
No, there's no Safari Transportation here.
No Safari Transportation?
Safari Transportation, 607 Cedar Avenue.
We're just looking for Safari Transportation.
We don't know.
So, but this is registered for Safari Transportation,
know.
607.
That's the address.
Okay, we don't know.
We're asking where Safari Transportation is.
We don't know.
Did you
Okay,
know
so the
Fuad
business is
Omar?
not here.
Don't record.
Fuad Omar?
Fuad Omar?
We don't know. This, do you see this? What is this?
Money transferring.
That's it.
Okay,
Well, this
registered.
is from the state.
This is fraud taking place. This is supposed to say, this is for
Go
Safari
find out.
Transportation.
Go find out.
Yeah, we did find out. This is fraud right here.
Registered here
This is
since
registered.
2015.
2015?
Safari Transportation, state of
We don't know
Minnesota.
2015. Well, oh yeah.
Well, but it's registered now. This is current, just off the state of Minnesota website
I said
today.
you don't know, please.
This is from today. I just printed this off today. Fuad Omar.
Go check it out.
We're here. This is 607. Where's Safari
607.
Okay,
Transportation?
then it's no Safari, period.
Okay, so it's a fraudulent
Did you-
business.
Did you see Safari anything here?
Exactly.
Did you see?
Exactly. It's
Did
not
you
here.
see it?
It's a fraud.
Did you see, sir?
Okay, thank you. We're going to go to the next
Okay.
address.
See?
All right, let's keep moving on.
Okay, so they went to a couple of sites, same thing. Shirley was repeatedly harassed on the streets, called Islamophobic. They, were threatened. And here's this guy. He's just downright menacing. I'm going to play another clip here for you. Take a listen to this. Hold on, I've got this guy. Let's pull this up. He's just downright menacing. Here we go.
With race, this is fraud. It's fraud.
Absolutely has to do with us being Muslim.
No, it does not.
All right, and us being from Africa. This is a constitutional argument. If you don't want us here, change the freedom of religion. Say, listen, we don't want Muslims in this country anymore.
We're not saying that.
No.
We're not saying that.
When I go
Sir,
onto
we're
your
talking
comments,
about fraud. When
I go onto your comments,
my comments.
what I see is people that say we do not want Muslims here. Kick every single Muslim in Minnesota out of Minnesota.
That's a comment.
You're preparing for the Somali community to maybe be taken to concentration camps, just like the Japanese community. All right, you're sensationalizing.
No, we're not.
All right,
Sir,
something that
answer
can
the
listen.
question. Where
That's something
where
that can,
is the transportation
something
vehicle
that can
company?
jeopardize
Answer the question.
The safety and the protection of the Somali community.
We're talking about
if
fraud.
Anything
sir.
happens to the Somali
We're talking
community,
about fraud.
Listen, I'm not doing anything. I'm not physically touching
You're getting very close.
I'm not physically touching you. No, I'm not physically touching you.
This is fraud.
What
We're talking about fraud.
What you're
defending fraud.
When I go into your comments,
you're defending fraud.
People who hate Muslims
Okay,
want us out of here
people can say
for
what they
being
want.
Muslim.
I'm not censoring anybody.
Are using your material. Islamophobes use your material. People who hate Islam use your material. Say to us, we don't want you here. Change the constitution. But guess what? Let me tell you something. Guess what?
Say it. We're asking about
We're
fraud. Asking about fraud.
You hate Muslims.
I'm not saying I hate Muslims. We're talking about fraud. We're talking about fraud.
Why are you attacking us?
This
Are we
is
the
fraud.
only community that suffers because of fraud?
We're talking about fraud.
Are we the only community that does fraud? Are we the only community that does this?
This is about fraud.
This is about fraud. Like, dude, this is not about your religion. And look, I'm sorry. I would probably go even further than Nick Shirley there did in that video. Yeah, I don't want you here. Main primary reason would be fraud, but also this is a Christian nation. You have the freedom of religion. You can do that. But you have to respect that we have values that are derived from the Christian Bible, and the Christian Bible is pretty clear about not stealing. So Nick Shirley has got some guts, I'll tell you that. He keeps walking right into the danger zone. And, I'm sure that there's going to be more coming out about this, second video. It's 50 minutes long. I have yet to watch the edit in its entirety. I just pulled a couple of clips that I found interesting. But yeah, Nick Shirley, he's got some guts. The Somali fraud, that might fly in your country. Somalia, that might fly there, but it doesn't fly here. You want to know why? Because we're a Christian nation. The laws are derived from Christianity. I do want to give you a report really quick. And then I'm going to probably have to head out. I didn't get to everything I needed to get to. I can only go an hour today, folks, but smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. This is kind of breaking news. The shooting that involved ICE in Minnesota, this happened last night. According to Bill Malugin from Fox News Breaking, quote, I'm told by 4 law enforcement sources that there's been another ICE-involved shooting in Minneapolis. I'm told ICE was making contact with a target who then allegedly assaulted an officer with a shovel. He swung the shovel, and then shots were fired, and then the suspect ran back into a house. So Malugin, he later confirmed, so this is all the details we've got right now, that the guy that was shot was Venezuelan. Okay, and he's in stable condition. He was shot in the leg. Okay, he's all right. He reported that there were activists gathering after that shooting because, of course, anti-ICE activists, anti-ICE terrorists, I would say, because they have to immediately insert themselves even before they know all the facts because it's sick. But Here's a video, and the sound's a little garbled, but Fox covered it a little bit last night. Here we go.
Ebbs and flows. So 1 minute, there's a small protest at the federal building. The next minute, these people with whistles and an agenda show up to these different sites across the city. That's what DHS has been saying. What we know right now from our colleague Bill Malugin, who just got off the phone with his federal sources, Sean, is that a man who was a target of an ICE operation from Venezuela, who ICE says was in the country illegally, was a target in this operation here in Minnesota. So they go to the door. That's when they say this Venezuelan migrant held up a shovel, tried to assault one of their agents. And you can hear those chants there in the background as protesters show up. That's when they say use the shovel to try and assault the agent. Shots were fired. This Venezuelan teen, we're told, was shot in the leg, expected to be okay. Bill Malugin telling me there's actually a picture that a source texted him of this guy on a stretcher smiling, kind of giving a thumbs up as he's taken away to the hospital. So we'll get more on what's going on there at the scene. But it's become aggressive here, and I saw it today when I was on the ground with law enforcement here, with ICE agents here in Minnesota. It's something we've been keeping an eye on as it continues to grow. But it comes as the governor here, Tim Walz, who's also under investigation in this huge fraud scheme here, Sean, just told people, hey, these are just our neighbors, and if you see them getting arrested, take out your cell phone and record. Watch.
Armed, masked, undertrained ICE agents are going door to door, ordering people to point out where their neighbors of color live. They're pulling over people indiscriminately, including U.S. citizens, and demanding to see their papers. And if you see these ICE agents in your neighborhood, take out that phone and hit record. Help us create a database of the atrocities against Minnesotans.
They're not Minnesotans, okay? This guy was Venezuelan, and he was a target of a deportation operation. So let me give you the details. I don't know if this is going to get out of control. You can count on the left spinning this, that this Venezuelan was a father, a Minneapolis father, or whatever. But Walz is lying his head off about ICE, and he's urging and really inciting these activists to engage with ICE agents as they're carrying out these deportation operations. A mandate, by the way, that Donald Trump has from the American people. He said on the campaign trail that he was going to carry out mass deportations. He wasn't going to Thanos it, snap his fingers, and then everybody was going to disappear. Okay, we knew that mass deportation operations would exist if we voted Donald Trump in. Okay, so it sounds like they're going to be sending more agents to Minnesota, but this is what Bill Malugin had put out on X. He said federal law enforcement officers were conducting a targeted traffic stop. Okay, so targeted means they know this guy in Minneapolis of an illegal alien from Venezuela who was released into the country by Joe Biden in 2022. In an attempt to evade arrest, the subject fled from the scene, okay, the traffic stop, in his vehicle, crashed into a parked car. Then the subject got out and fled on foot. The law enforcement officer caught up to the subject because, hell yeah, on foot, because these ICE agents are really human specimens that should just be admired. So he caught up to the subject, apprehended the subject. The subject began to resist violently and assault the officer. Now, listen to this. This is where it gets crazy. Okay. He didn't have a shovel, but then he gets a shovel. So take a listen. The subject, they were on the ground, struggling, violently assaulting the ICE agent to try to resist arrest. And then two individuals come out from a nearby apartment, and then they start attacking the law enforcement officer with a snow shovel and a broomstick, a broom handle. Okay. This is some ghetto stuff. Okay, so the officer was being ambushed and attacked by the two individuals and the original Venezuelan illegal alien. So I'd imagine these two individuals are Minnesotans that have been incited by Tim Walz. They went loose and started striking the officer with a snow shovel and a broomstick. Okay, fearing for his life, yes, and his safety. He fired defensive shots and defended his life. And then the initial subject, so the Venezuelan fella, was hit in the leg. All three subjects, after the shots were fired, freaked them out. All three subjects ran into the apartment and barricaded themselves inside. The attacked officer and the subject that was shot, they were in the hospital. I'd imagine, we're going to get some pictures. Getting beat with a shovel and a broomstick, probably going to have some injuries, much like Jonathan, the ICE agent who got ran over by Renee Good, had internal bleeding. But both attackers are in custody, the two that came out of the apartment. So this attack on another brave member of law enforcement took place while Minnesota's top leaders, Walz and Frey, were actively encouraging organized resistance to ICE and federal law enforcement officers. So their rhetoric and resistance against men who are simply trying to do their jobs has to end. Federal law enforcement, they're facing 1,300% increase in assaults against them. Their lives are put on the line, to arrest these criminals and lawbreakers. It's enough of the hateful rhetoric coming from Jacob Frey and Tim Walz. They've got to stop it because there's going to be more incidents like this and people will die. All right, folks, that's going to be it. I appreciate you being here. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. I only went an hour today, but I promise you we'll be back bright and early tomorrow, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Time. Be blessed. We'll talk again soon.